What's the CIA's most disturbing experiment?
To me,
It's been really weird that J.D. Vance has been a little absent during a lot of these moves.
school is just a factory to manufacture people for the workforce.
Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Hope everyone out there is having a good day. Y'all, special day today. I'll get into that at the end of the video, but today we got another banger for you guys. Anytime I see Grand Canyon, I click on it. We got Grand Canyon, we got Gate Program, we got a whole bunch more clips coming up in today's video. Y'all make sure you guys watch from start to finish. That really helps the channel grow. But with that being said, let's do what we came here for. Let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Hello from the other side. Wanna see Nirvana, wanna die, wanna feel another, come by, left the flash, all them boys wanna see.
You see a nigga with his glasses on the top of his head. That's a different type of nigga. Don't just listen. It's little shit in the video that y'all missing because y'all not ready to accept Kyle for the person that he's becoming. When did you ever see him do some shit like that?
I need somebody to help me understand. Now, this has been bugging me for a while now. So since 1990, I've done the research, okay? Approximately, give or take, over 90 million people have died in the United States of America. 90 million people since 1990. We're in 2026 now. I've been to a couple graveyards recently, and I realized when I went to the graveyards back when my grandfather passed away back in 1989, 1990-ish, versus now, in the graveyards haven't filled up. They haven't changed. I remember going as a kid seeing that like half of the graveyard was full. And then a couple other graveyards in my local area. But they haven't gotten any bigger. They haven't filled up. When was the last time you've seen a graveyard being built? I can't ever remember finding a new graveyard. I've actually looked it up. There are no new graveyards. They're the same graveyards with the same amount of bodies in them. Now, if we've had 90 million people die since 1990, can someone explain to me, like a small child, where all the bodies are going? They say, oh, well, they're getting cremated, or, you know, they're doing, they're stacking the bodies, or they're recycling the plots. I don't buy it. Where are they going? And how come none of these cemeteries are full yet? They're not at max capacity. You don't ever see an out of order sign with the gates closed. There's always more space. They're always taking deposits for plots, but they're never filling up. I don't get it. Can someone explain to me what's going on with these cemeteries and where all the bodies are going? I really want to know.
You know, it kind of feels like the Great Awakening is getting close to happening, right? Like we're starting to put pieces to the puzzle together. Like, where are all these bodies going? Why is there never a shortage of meat? Why does McDonald's never say, we're out of beef today? That's never happened once. Remember in 2020, there was a shortage at Wingstop, right? We're running short on wings, so we're going to give you chicken thighs. Like, what? That doesn't make sense. This is on the same chicken. How is there a shortage of wings, but not a shortage of... It's like the Great Awakening. It's starting to happen, y'all. It's starting to happen.
Something strange. And, you know, if it's some people loading up in a van, by the time the police officer gets over there, it's probably gone. So then it is a cleared call. The statement does go on to say that the information was passed along to the officer's patrol sergeant. And it talks about another telephone report that was made in March of 2024. But the call was canceled because the original caller did not answer when an officer called back to take the phone report. The patrol squad that received the information attempted to gain intel, they tell us, but they were not able to establish any probable cause.
I don't think we think enough about what we're eating, what we're really ingesting. We don't give enough thought to it. I didn't quit eating chicken because I didn't like it. But check this out. If you burned yourself and it blistered, what's in the blister? And they would say, pus or body fluids. And I'd say, okay. So you take that piece of chicken, you stick it in the oven, you pull it out and you open it up. What is that stuff oozing out of that chicken? And they'd go, ugh. And I was like, they've taught you that stuff easing out of that chicken is juice. It's body fluids. You subjected it to high temperatures, you cooked it, and now that stuff is oozing out. But you would never prick that burn. You would never think about pricking that burn and sucking those juices. Do you know how many of us think that way?
If they think about it at all.
Think about it at all. Thank you very much. So
Damn
taking care of
vegans.
you is your responsibility. I
Damn
read those
vegans.
books and started practicing, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. And that's when I began to understand the importance of knowledge. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're here now at a remote port in Greenland, where, as you can see down there, Denmark has just sent in the Arctic Special Forces. They got shiesties, they got camo, they got ghillie suits, they got big-ass dumpers, and they're about to walk up here. I'm shaking right now because I'm so nervous being an American.
What I find funny about all this is everyone's saying, no, there's no problem, everything's cool, and just more troops, planes keep coming, ships keep coming. We got the special forces here unloading their weapons. There's a troop buildup. We've been saying it all along.
Hello, brothers. How you doing?
What regiment?
What regiment are you with?
So all the politicians are saying, yeah, no, everything's fine, nothing to see here. But as we were in the port this morning, 2 warships came in. The airport is being inundated by troop transport after military plane. These guys here are like full on night vision glasses, silencers, SEAL Team 6, Special Forces kind of shit. And we're going, well, what's happening? And every time we ask the question, no one will give us any answers. And these guys wouldn't even give us their regiment. Something smells fishy.
Something smells fishy in Greenland.
I hate to say, I do think the CIA currently are operating in Greenland, not in any kind of numbers. They probably have 2 or 3 people there. They're probably on the U.S. Air Force Base that's based in Greenland, and they're probably just trying to get the lay of the land and try to get an idea of what public opinion is like. I can tell you what public opinion is like because there have been polls from among the 50,000 people who live in Greenland. And the polls show like 95-5, they want to remain a part of Denmark. What is the most important issue? I find this fascinating. What is the most important issue to Greenlanders? Why do they so want to remain a part of Denmark? Because of the health care. Nobody wants American health care. Half of us go bankrupt because of the health care system here. And in Greenland, it's free. Everything is free. And Denmark's a peaceful country. Why rock the boat? Yesterday, I happened to be in LAX, Los Angeles Airport, and I'm sitting next to a guy who I don't know, and he just randomly turns to me and he says, "How crazy is this with Greenland?" And I said, yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, I can't believe we're even having this conversation. And he says, "Look what I just found." And he shows me on his phone. I took a picture of his phone. He's looking at a timeline of U.S. relations with Greenland. And he showed me something that I had never known before. On the timeline, it says 1917 to buy the Virgin Islands from Denmark. And I didn't even know we bought the Virgin Islands from Denmark. It says to buy the Virgin Islands from Denmark, the U.S. agrees not to make any claims against Greenland. And there's a picture of President Woodrow Wilson signing the treaty with Denmark saying we'll never try to take Greenland. I mean, what are we supposed to make of that? So I did some research. It turns out to be true. I didn't know it. I think most Americans don't know it. I also think that we really, really need to think about the effect on NATO. Now, Denmark, of course, is a NATO country. It was one of the original signatories of NATO, just like we are. literally every country in the European Union last week, plus the UK, so that includes all of NATO, signed a statement, a joint statement saying, we're with Denmark on this. America, stay out of Greenland. President Trump said, oh, we probably won't invade Greenland. We'll buy it. And if they won't sell it to us, then we'll invade it. That will be the end of NATO. The end. And with the collapse of NATO, really, it only serves Russia. It serves China. It serves any of America's other enemies around the world. And for what? For Greenland? We already have a base there. At the end of the day, I think this is about the rare earth metals, because Greenland is just stuffed with rare earth metals. I think that's what this is about.
About money. It's about greed. Greed and money. That's it, y'all. It's not for us. We're not going to capitalize off this. We're not. And what sucks is like 95% of the people out there want it to remain, Denmark. And we got, like, imagine if China was saying, we're going to go take over America. 95% of America wants to stay America. We want it to stay how it is. 5%, whatever. And they come invade. What are we going to think of China? We're under dictatorship now. Right? So we're doing the same thing over there, y'all. And at the end of the day, all it is for minerals and metals, which isn't, car prices ain't going to come down with those metals. Batteries ain't going to come down. They're probably going to go up, right? Can't stand this dude, what he's doing, y'all. I'm sorry. I was a supporter of him. I really was. I thought it was going to come and change. We're getting into my second channel after this one of how high grocery prices are. I promise on day one, grocery prices will be down. They're up.
We're trying to tell us something.
We're not strangers, Loveland. We're going to be great friends. Here we are. What's so special about a hallway?
First and foremost, I want you guys to notice that Lady Gaga in this season plays an eternal vampire. I guess it's just coincidence that she happens to be good friends with this lady. We'll call her MA. In that scene, we see her taking a child to some sort of secret room within the hotel. Later in the same episode, we would find out what that room was really for. Many people have hypothesized for a long time that American Horror Story is a little more than fictional, if you catch my drift. But what do you think? Are they trying to tell us something, or am I tripping? Wake up.
Burning the Quran ain't it. I don't care who you are. It makes Christianity look bad. It looks trashy, and honestly, maybe that's what they're trying to do, because something about this whole situation is fishy. Well,
I mean, what did this guy think was going to happen? Do you guys see this? He got the hell beat out of him. Like, what do you expect? You're going out there, I don't know what this guy expected, y'all. What do you think was going to happen? Play with fire, you're going to get burned, y'all. People don't play. Whether it's right or wrong, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying you're going out there all by yourself to talk crap to, people. That's what's going to happen, right?
get to that in a second, but this is Jake Lang. He claims to be a Christian conservative, and for the record, I am Christian and I am conservative for the most part, but I would never do something like this. Now, this past weekend, he went to Minneapolis and he made a video that got over 8 million views saying, I will be burning the Quran in front of the city hall in Minneapolis. And of course, he does it, and he's known for these kinds of things. He goes to protests against Muslims, he gets pigs' heads, raw bacon, burns Qurans, does all of this stuff, and gets millions of views.
Sorry.
Now, when he went to Minneapolis, he stood in front of the whole crowd. And of course, they're throwing stuff at him, they're attacking him. And it seems like everyone is shocked because they don't really know what's going on. They're like, how dare they attack this guy? I mean, what are you expecting? You're expecting a warm welcome? Nick Shirley goes into that town, just exposing the fraud, and he gets harassed. This guy burns their holy book. What do you think is gonna happen? And for the record, all of the fraud happening there, I hope they get investigated and arrested and held accountable. And if they're illegally, they should be sent home. But this isn't the way you do it. This causes hatred, this causes division, and there is something fishy going on. I mean, let's look up this guy. Who the heck is he? The only thing I could find is him kissing the wall in Israel and his sister being in the IDF. Everyone seems to be saying the same thing. This seems like it's orchestrated to cause some division. Whether it's the Quran, a Buddhist statue, the Talmud Torah, that's not the way you do things. This separates people, and that's the last thing this country needs.
No, it's so crazy. Like, this isn't authentic. They don't see this. They don't see that just 2 weeks before, or not even just a week before, a few days before these riots kicked off, before ICE killed that lady, a few days before that, Minneapolis was all over the news for fraud, right? This YouTube dude was making his rounds. He was on CNN. They were talking about him over there. He was on Fox News. He was on all these podcasts, right? Tim Walz stepped down as governor. All this within 5 days, let's say. I'm probably wrong, probably, quicker than that. But within 5 days, a ICE agent kills a woman. And now look at it. It's pure chaos out there. Nobody cares about the fraud no more. Checkmate. Democrats won again. You know what I mean? That's crazy that people don't see that. I see it. I mean, a blind man can see that.
Is the real Giza Plateau. Look. This is what we mean when we say Meltology. All of this area is desert because there was a motherboard meltdown. The Earth is a grid, a motherboard. It has melted down several times. This is from one of the most recent meltdowns. After Israel was divided within, it imploded and became open for attack. As you can see, all these people are Shemites. Edomites, Moabites, Ammonites are still all from Shem, even though they were supposedly enemies. Like Ashur, who fathered the Assyrians, who were also enemies. So all Israelites are Shemites, but not all Shemites are Israelites. Since they didn't get along, civilization fell apart. Edom is synonymous with Mount Seir. Mount Whitney is Mount Seir in the Sierra Nevadas. Edom is wrong. Edom destroyed the temple, the Israelites dispersed, and order continued to decay. These are melted buildings. Obviously melted buildings. These so-called pueblos are remnants of a melted metropolis. The survivors of the meltdown found refuge in these pockets of survival. Egypt is Mitzrayim. That's where we're getting Mississippi or Mitsori. This is Hamite land that stretched all the way to the Grand Canyon in Sedona or Sidon. Moab is said to be east of the Dead Sea in the Bible. Moab, Utah is east of the Dead Sea. The Moabites are the Moors. Moab's mom was his sister. He was a product of inbreeding. So Edom, which is Rome, took Jerusalem in 70 AD, which is actually 1070. And Rome, or Edom, fell in 476, which is actually 1476. The Spanish were Moorish slaves that revolted. The Spanish slaves took over the Moorish infrastructure in 1492. 48 years later, the Spanish finally reached the canyon. There was enough of a remnant of real aboriginals to hold them off for at least another 200 years, and so we have no history over this period. Nearby in the Pueblo Wars, aboriginals were being killed and shipped into Mexico for slavery. That's where many Afro-Mexicans and Afro-Cubans come from. By this point, most aboriginals are hybridized. It's a post-apocalyptic scenario with many wars. Pale colonists don't penetrate the canyon until 1869. Now 90% of it is off limits, especially the caves and mines, which are just corridors in the now melted metropolis. You can't even fly a drone over most of the canyon. Obviously, we get Kincaid's account in 1909, where he claims to find Egyptian artifacts. And then we get the unoriginal Hittite hybrid tribes placed there as a distraction. I don't think it's a coincidence that the canyon has all these Egyptian names, especially in Haunted Canyon. The whole desert out west is a post-apocalyptic area. I think these nukes were used to destroy something they didn't want people to see, because most of these detonations were done underground, and done until 1992. Definitely Meltology.
They will pay somebody, not a significant amount of money, but they'll pay somebody a full-time salary to then follow you around, how you make your money, what you do for a living, your family, your employers, employees, friends, associates, and they start to poke and look for ways that they can hurt you, to persuade you to stop saying the things that you're saying.
That the Epstein files, it continues. It's even worse. I just spent hours listening to another testimony. And when the testimony came out just in the last few days, that's when they pump up the Minnesota. Pump up the Minnesota, beat a few more people up, kill a few more people. Get everybody to look over there. Don't look. And again, I'm not talking about just trafficking. I'm talking about outrageous snuff films, murdering young. They're supposed to be graveyards filled with, and no one knew who they were. I know I sound like a crazy person, I know, but it's not. There is a testimony, Sasha Riley. I ask people to go and investigate and listen to it yourself. There are some issues.
I was aware of Tartaria and the mud flood before I ever really started talking about it. I was fascinated by it, but I really didn't know where to place that. Because, yeah, you're right. It's like, what am I supposed to do with this? So in the view of the little season, it actually does make sense. So that's why I kind of researched it more, because this is evidence of a lie, at least, or a cover-up. So, but why? So the little season kind of gives you the answer to why, is because there was a better time than this in our past. Like how far back in our past? I mean, that's kind of anybody's best guess, but to me, it's after the times of Jesus. So if Jesus kept his word and said that he was coming back in their generation, well, this could be maybe evidence of this millennial reign. This could be evidence of this 1,000 years that was better than the times we're living in today.
Obviously, times of plenty, at least from what you could look at that existed. Right?
Yes, right.
Conveniently, so much of the history is just gone.
Erica Kirk is possessed. I'm friends with like some of the top psychics and remote viewers in the world, and they're saying the same thing. One of them remote viewed Charlie, and she said she saw Erica with him, like her real soul.
Oh.
She's already passed and her body's possessed. It's her theory.
Really?
That's
crazy. So the Erica that we're seeing isn't
her, yeah. And I've had two of the top psychics tell me this.
She does look possessed.
She does. Like when you look at her, like she switches.
She looks like the bride of Chucky.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but one of them also mentioned that there's 3 powerful groups after Candace and she needs to be safe, and Charlie wants her to be really safe.
So humans won't need to work.
We're going to get to a place where transportation is pretty much free. They won't need to work. Everything will just be done. The cost of everything goes to almost free because the robots can build stuff. And when people are like, oh, that's scary, it's happening today. They call them the 3Ds, the dirty, dull, and dangerous jobs. There's robots in UPS stores and BMW plants currently building cars, moving packages around because humans didn't want to do that job. I really think there's a world where we may not have to work anymore. In the future, you will wake up and have to confront the really big question of what am I doing here?
She said that there's people eating flesh, like people eating humans. Gabriela Jimenez. She was a model, a Mexican model, and she was at this party. It was an underground party, and Carlos Slim was the one that almost hosted that shit. Son, he brought this chick over. They thought that she would be cool, but she started flipping out. They arrested her because she thought she was crazy. So you know that these elites out here, they be doing crazy shit like that, bro.
Do you remember those tabloid magazines that you would see in stores? I don't know if they're still there. They probably are. But I'm talking about those like weird magazines that would be at the registers. And on the cover, it would always be something just completely wild. Like the most out there and wild conspiracies. I'm trying to think of an example. Like it would be something like, oh, a couple went missing a few weeks ago and then someone reported that it was a Bigfoot that took them. That's a bad example. Or it would say like something about celebrities. Like it would be like, oh, Britney Spears is pregnant and she's also now growing a third leg. That's a bad example too. I can't think of a good example right now, but you know what I'm talking about. You remember these tabloids. I think those tabloids had a very specific purpose. And I think the purpose of those tabloids was to program you to think that all conspiracies are too wild to believe. Like if you saw those magazines every time you passed the register, you look at it real quick and you go, oh no, that's absolute nonsense. And then in a way, you're just kind of getting programmed to think that about all conspiracies. When in reality, it was only like the wackiest and most crazy things that you would see on those covers. And it was always things that common sense would tell you is just not true. I think it was intentionally programming us to have a certain opinion towards conspiracies. Because anything that was on the covers of those things, you looked at it for a quick second and was just like, what the fuck?
There's a lot of... They don't even have magazines no more. I just realized that. Like when you're checking out, do they still... Nobody even checks out no more. We go through self-checkout. There's no more magazine. They used to have an aisle. Like they have an aisle of like birthday cards and stuff. Remember they used to have an aisle of magazines? You can go look at the magazines and whatnot. They don't even got that no more. Magazines are dead, y'all. You go online, like these websites that used to be magazines and now they're websites. You can't even go on them. You go on them and you're flooded with ads. They ruined the magazine game, y'all. Remember magazines? I used to get a subscription to magazines. East Bay, I used to buy all my shoes on there. Man,
But I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but
forgot
I was
about that.
actually in the GATE program when I was a little kid.
Really?
Yep.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's trippy. I didn't know that's what it was until it started to come out recently.
Really?
That other kids on TikTok or other, we're not kids
Adults,
anymore, but they were like, "Did you ever have to go to a special room in your school and put these headphones on and watch these slideshows?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did that." And they were like, "No, no, no!" Like everybody, I'd never even heard of that. And I was like, "Whoa, that's weird," because I did that. And the person messaged me, and they were like, "What did you hear in the headphones?" And I was like, "It was like ocean sounds, like sea sounds." And then they would show you a picture, and then it played like weird tones, like tone from one side, tone from the other side, and it would say like, what's going on in this scene? And then you would say whatever it was, and that person would write down on their little notepad. Well, it turns out that was a secret government program
to see if you could astrally project and pick up what was there.
Right, remote viewing and all that. And I didn't even remember it until I saw that TikTok of that person talking about it. And I was like, "Oh man, I did that."
That's wild.
And they even called it in my school. They called it the GATE program, the Gifted and Talented program. That's what it was in our school. Yeah,
that is wild.
It was a weird thing. So we had to wear like these. They had these headphones, and they were like plastic cans with like a metal thing on it, and like one was blue and one was red, and you always had to make sure that you had them on the right side because it played
did that
different
too, y'all.
sounds, and that was like their whole thing was they were trying to send so many hertz to one lobe of your brain and then so many hertz to the other one, and then they would phase it in and out to try to tune your ability to recognize whatever the thing was.
That's wild.
And it was weird because like the picture they would show you, like I distinctly remember this one. It was like a graduation photo. It was like a kid graduating and his parents were all proud of him, and the lady's like, "Tell me what you see in this picture," and I was like, the guy graduating and he wanted to get a car, he's thinking about buying a new car because he wants to move away and go to college and all this stuff. And she's like, "How'd you get that from that picture?" And I was like, "I don't know. That's just what I think of when I see it." And then when I saw on her clipboard, it had a picture of a car on it.
Oh, that's wild.
And I was like, "Huh. Well, that's weird. Like, did I know that, or did I? Why would you even? What I mean? Like, why would that even be a thing?" But then it was a part of the thing. For real, it was.
That is wild.
Yeah,
that is wild.
Y'all, do you remember in school they used to check us for lice? Do you remember that? We'd all be in line. We'd go sit in a chair, and they'd go through our hair, and then go. Do they still do that? Do kids still get lice? I had lice when I was little. I remember my mom took me in the backyard in the sun in a chair in the middle of the yard. I had a chair out there, and she was picking stuff out of my hair when I was little, y'all. Do you guys remember? Do they still do that? Do kids still get lice? Is that still a thing?
Are on the Tuba City Dinosaur Trackway. This Moanavi Formation is 190 million years old. And imagine this area. Put yourselves here, folks. Teeming with dinosaurs, and we can see dinosaur behavior. There's one step, there's another step, and there's another step. I can barely cover these, and here's one walking this way, and then you come here to what to my mind is one of the most amazing scenarios on this entire trackway, which is a mother Dilophosaur and her baby. Look at that little tiny Dilophosaurus track, and then the mother. I mean, that track compared to that track. And here the little baby is scampering around the feet of its mother. And I don't know about you guys, but I can feel the maternal behavior even 190 million years later.
this tap water? It was bottled water.
Look at this. All 4 teams that are closest to the trophy in this photo that the NFL shared are in the championship game. Of course, Knicks went down with a fake injury, but his team, May, Stafford, and Darnold are all in the championship game. Now, that's more than just a coincidence because these leagues are scripted and rigged. They literally show you truth in plain sight every single time. And this is no different when it comes to the NFL. Honestly, the WWE looks more real than the NFL at times because these players are all actors. They have been given a script and they must follow that script. How do you think they make the money that they make?
A new law just went into effect literally right now that protects nearly half of the entire planet and almost nobody is talking about it. This is actually huge what's happening right now because for almost 20 years, countries have been fighting over how to protect international water. This is obviously parts of the ocean that don't belong to any country, and that's nearly half of the Earth's surface. And all up until literally yesterday, there were basically no rules because anybody could overfish, dump waste, or do whatever they wanted out there without any consequence. Officially stated as of January the 17th of 2026, the High Seas Treaty is officially international law. 83 entire different countries, including China and Japan, have now officially ratified it. So they're saying that for the first time ever in history, we can now create marine protected areas in international waters. Right now, only about 1% of the high seas is protected, but the reason why this is such a big deal is because this treaty is trying to get that to 30% by 2030. This covers 95% of the ocean's total volume. We're talking about the largest habitat on the entire planet, and companies now have to do environmental impact assessments before messing with anything out there, and scientists have to share what they find. This is literally the biggest international law in decades, and it just went live.
Okay, so you won't believe this. The Amazon River is over 4,300 miles long, according to recent measurements, making it literally the longest river in the entire world. The Nile River is roughly 4,100 miles long, making it a close second. So the Amazon River flows from the Andes Mountains in Peru, eastward all the way through Brazil, and then out into the Atlantic Ocean.
To the Grand Canyon.
It literally stretches across the entire continent of South America. So the planet's circumference is roughly 25,000 miles. Let's just say that the Amazon River is 4,000 miles long, just to be safe. Well, that would make this river stretching over roughly 1/6 of the entire planet's circumference, meaning it would be going over a massive amount of curvature. So it should be flowing in 2 separate directions, given the fact that it's going over so much curvature, and water's nature is to seek and find level. It's going from higher elevation in the mountains to lower elevation out at sea. It's called sea level, not sea curve. So how is this river not flowing in 2 separate directions if the Earth is actually a globe? But of course it's a globe. I made everything up, entertainment purposes only.
Did you just say Paris Hilton got something passed?
I know. Paris Hilton. She got the Stop Institutional Child Abuse Act passed by Congress. She and other survivors of the troubled teen industry rallied together to get Congress to approve this act.
Was she abused?
She was abused at a troubled teen program in Utah.
No We need to get her.
Yeah, she's really impressive, really smart. But then all of these other survivors have also coalesced around this, and Paris was willing to put her name on it, and they got it passed. There's actually a Netflix show called The Program about this as well. The nonprofit Unsilenced is the one that has the database of these residential programs for troubled teens. There's active litigation against one of those programs called Shelterwood. That was actually a Joe White affiliated troubled teen program.
Can you tell us about mayonnaise?
Mayonnaise is only afforded by the rich. It's only afforded by the rich people. And here, nobody eats bread with just plain mayonnaise. In Cuba, that's a rich person's meal, bread with just plain mayonnaise. And when I got here to the United States, I mean, I still do till today. And my kids love it too, because I give it to them. It tastes delicious, bread with mayonnaise. But I remember I was eating it, and my friends that are American and were born here in this country, they looked at me like,
"You're eating mayonnaise?
Dude, why are you eating?" I was like, bread with mayonnaise. Bro, that's gross. I'm like, no, man, this is an exquisite meal by my standards. What are you talking about? I'm used to, my dinner was a glass of milk with cookies, with saltine cookies. You know, I'm used to eating these kinds of stuff. It just puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
Your perspective is your reality.
Yeah. Well, I say perception. But that's actually something that I say on the podcast at least once a week. I say perception is reality.
Exactly.
Because it is. It's the way you view the world. That mayonnaise on bread thing, the reason I even brought that up is because when I was living off ramen, I would buy the spicy chicken ramen. It was like 26 cents for a pack. And I would buy a loaf of bread and a thing of mayonnaise. And that's what I would live off of for the entire week. And I would take that mayonnaise and I would dip it in that water that was spicy chicken, and it tasted like a spicy chicken sandwich. And it was good, right? Compared to not having the bread.
There's several different human hybrid. There you go. Several different human hybrid races that exist.
Yes.
Some of them are not in contact with us.
Some of them are.
And some of them are.
Live with us.
And they live with us. They
Right.
walk. Some of them walk among us.
And walk among us.
For sure.
And a lot of people don't know.
They don't know that.
Right? And it's just secret.
That's why I sent you the photos so they can put it on the interview so they can see.
Listen, y'all don't know why I keep picking on Miss CC with me. It's for these main reasons. One reason is what y'all don't know is he have worked for the same people that have hid the information, right? He have worked for the same people that actually understand your mind, understand about beings that are beings that you have never seen before, that y'all call myths, that y'all call fake. He have had contact with them.
Real fact.
Right? And so y'all got to understand this. So when we come across, it be facts on top of facts.
We're going to raise the game for y'all, though. And then y'all going to see us in the field with the ghost box.
I ain't gonna go forward with the ghost box. I can call the ghost out there.
No. When you see this ghost box,
I don't need no ghost box.
it's gonna add you. He might be able to harness it a different way.
I don't need no ghost box.
On my granny, that ghost box changed your worldview.
How do they know which ashes to put in which box? And then I realized, oh fuck, they don't know.
I know you fucking lying.
Everybody multiple cremations?
Man, bro.
Well, back then, because of the multiple cremations, see, I could cremate one guy in like 2 hours, or you could put 10 of them in there and it takes 2.5 hours.
10 people in that small space.
Difference? This is fucking crazy, y'all.
There is none. Hard-hearted as that sounds, there is none.
He ain't bothered by this shit at all.
To me, commingling of ash is not a big deal.
That's beyond commingling.
I don't put any value in anybody after they're gone and dead, as they shouldn't when I'm gone and dead. That's not a person anymore.
Yep, you going to hell, dog. That's a wrap.
You know what I say when we're getting close to unraveling everything, y'all. We're getting close to getting the answers we all have questions to. It seems like it, y'all. It seems like we're getting close, and these powers that be are starting to do whatever they can to keep us distracted. We got riots, we got Greenland, we got China, we got Russia, we got wars, we got more and more crazy things have been happening lately. Every day. I do these videos every day, y'all. Never run out of content. It's just constantly coming. Always. There's always something new happening. If I do this video in 2 days, say I didn't post this for 2 days, it's old news. That's how quick things hit the news and go out.
And hell, I just caught this. Tell me if you guys see the same thing. This is Neil deGrasse Tyson talking with Joe Rogan. Tell me if you catch what I caught.
His eyes, y'all.
Tell me what happens to his nose. He
grows when he lies. Did you see that?
My nose is about to grow, and if it grows that many...
Did you see that shit?
That's probably going to happen.
Okay. So their concern about suddenly alleviating student debt is in part because they're worried that society will get more socialist when the divide increases.
Which is a version of UBI, or just carrying, a safety net that covers everyone's basic needs. So relieving student debt is on the way to creating kind of universal basic need meeting, right?
Do you think UBI will work as a concept? UBI, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically
universal basic income.
Distributing money.
Gets a stipend.
Giving people money every month.
But I mean, we have that with Social Security. We've done this when it came to pensions. That was after the Great Depression, I think in like 1935, 1937, FDR created Social Security. But what happens when you have to pay for everyone's livelihood everywhere in every country? Again, how can we afford that?
Well, if the costs go down 10x of making things.
This is where the math gets very confusing, because I think the optimists say you can't imagine how much abundance and how much wealth it will create. And so we will be able to generate that much. But the question is, what is the incentive again for the people who've consolidated all that wealth to redistribute it to everybody else?
We just have to tax them.
And how will we do that when the corporate lobbying interests of trillion-dollar AI companies can massively influence the government more than human political power? Well, in a way, this is the last moment that human political power will matter. It's sort of a use it or lose it moment, because if we wait to the point where in the past, in the Industrial Revolution, they start automating, a bunch of the work, and people have to do these jobs that people don't want to do in the factory, and there's like bad working conditions, they can unionize and say, hey, we don't want to work under those conditions. And their voice mattered because the factories needed the workers.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, does the state need the humans anymore? Their GDP is coming in almost entirely from the AI companies. So suddenly this political class, this political power base, they become the useless class, to borrow a term from Yuval Harari, the author of Sapiens. In fact, he has a different frame, which is that AI is like a new version of digital. It's like a flood of millions of new digital immigrants, of alien digital immigrants that are Nobel Prize level capability, work at superhuman speed, will work for less than minimum wage. We're all worried about, immigration of the other countries next door taking labor jobs. What happens when AI immigrants come in and take all of the cognitive labor? If you're worried about immigration, you should be way more worried about AI. Like it dwarfs it. Yeah. You can think of it like this. I mean, if you think about, we were sold a bill of goods in the 1990s with NAFTA. We said, hey, we're going to, NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, we're going to outsource all of our manufacturing to these developing countries, China, Southeast Asia, and we're going to get this abundance. We're going to get all the...
Our camp was right there. You see that waterfall? That was our camp.
Oh, yeah. It's the Grand Canyon.
I've got it too. Just keep pointing, okay? I'm wondering if we should be picking up some of these drybacks and try to keep ourselves. I don't want to get near that. I know. But...
School's just a factory to manufacture people for the workforce. Our school system was one of the biggest, and how westernized systems of elementary, middle, and high school were organized. When the U.S. was first getting started, this guy, I can't remember his name, but he was in charge of this stuff. So he is going to be the first head of the Department of Education and create this education system that's going to be nationwide. He goes and learns. He flies to Europe and learns from all these people who developed something called the Prussian education system, which in the Department of Education's founding documents, which were some written by this guy, was turn schools into factories that make good workers. I'm paraphrasing that, but the word factories was there. School's just a factory to manufacture people for the workforce and people that are obedient and all of this. So the Prussian education system was meant so that workers were manufactured and people didn't question the king. That was the big thing.
Full-size SUV.
Well, that's because you can't go out and buy a new truck. I mean, if you're a working guy and you got a 10-year-old truck and you're like, hey, maybe it's time to go get a new one. And you roll in there and they're like, well, that's a sticker on that's $115,000. And it's like, I'm a working guy. I can't buy a $115,000 truck. When I bought this one 10 years ago, it was 50.
Right.
You know, it's the same thing, isn't it? You
And
know?
Chrysler was the worst. Dodge was the worst about jacking the sticker prices during COVID. Boom, 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 boom. So like their $60,000 sticker truck in 2021 is now like 90. And so the rebate $5,000 off, rebate $10,000 off. They got to rebate more and more and more to get them back down to what they're supposed to be. They just gouged.
I have two 2014 trucks. And we just decided to go ahead and we're fixing everything, putting in all new lights and cleaning them all up, making them sexy. And I'm just going to try to wean out another 5 years from them.
Go with my 4Runner.
Because this truck's just too daggum expensive.
Exotics. We do a lot of exotics at Give Me the VIN. Not gasmonkeybuys.com, but givemethevin.com.
I think it's some type of afterlife portal. Anubis, Osiris, same symbol that's on our money. That eye is pointing directly there. That's the tunnel. A lot of people might think they're not real. Alex, are these real?
Yeah, these are in the dirt. This is not in any way, shape, or form bullshit.
I am here on an archaeological dig. He has the imaging report of this ground that shows there's something under there. That's the tunnel that we're starting at right there. This looks to be a giant megalith. Like it keeps going on for a long time. You can definitely see carvings in it. Carvings appearing in it, but I can't tell if it's dirt or rock. And I also really don't want to keep going. This stuff could be really soft. This looks like it could be part of a pathway and its placement with the tunnel. You see how it's going down? And then you have the dog. That eye is pointing to the right. It's pointing directly there. The tunnel to the city. I'm very curious. Looks like Thoth, aliens, as to where this is going on. Anubis, creating life. Also where it's coming from. Osiris, how much stuff they're gonna find. With the heart in the middle, the jackal, same symbol that's on our money. Feels pretty ominous. Look at this. Look at his eye. It's not looking straight forward. It's looking down at that hole, like he's guarding it. I think all these are just part. This is one chapter in the book. I think that might be right. The gesture of it all with the skull. Alex noticed a figurine that we hadn't seen on any of them. Money symbol. And a figurine. It looks like a staff coming up, and then one down below. We looked at a lot of these artifacts in the last 3 days. We dug this one out of the ground, and I just took another one out of the ground, and I don't feel great about the way this is happening, but I'm here. If you look at these things, I think it's some type of afterlife portal, because no matter what direction you look at it, from right here, or from up here, or from down below, or even upside down and sideways, it tells a story. But then, if you come around on the backside, there's nothing but raw earth all the way around it.
I'd like to know what's on the bottom of this.
Is that really something you want to find out? Just showing you where we're at. This is real. Anybody want to come help find the lost city with the underworld portal? Anybody else crazy enough to pay money to come here?
Man, Heineken used to be pretty good back in the day. In her face. Peppa Pig?
Has anybody asked themselves this question? Why at every airport is there a store selling luggage? Is anybody leaving for vacation showing up at the airport with just an armful of, I'm just going to pack them? The airport makes zero sense to me at all. It's the only place in America where you can drink a beer and eat a full plate of nachos at 8:13 a.m. and nobody says anything. The airport's the only place where you walk in and just people are taking naps on the ground. Somebody, for whatever reason, is doing yoga in the bathroom. And there's just animals with vests on just walking around. You're like, when did O'Hare become the zoo? The airport's the only place where the economy just also doesn't exist. You go to the register with a bag of Frito-Lays and a bottle of Dasani and she'll be like, it's $78.53. You're like, what happened? But you buy it because you can't go anywhere else. To the TSA, we don't know what the rules are because you keep changing them. Do I keep my shoes on or off? For the last 2 decades, you said take your laptops out the bag, and now you're yelling when we take it out. We didn't get the email. Just saying, the airport, who's governing the airport?
I'm sorry. We told y'all 2 years ago that John Benet Ramsey was not killed by her brother, that she was part of a P3D0 traffic ring. Literally, the first time I watched a documentary and they said that she had DNA inside of her. She had assault documented, and someone tried to pass it off as her riding a fucking bike. And then if you know anything about the pageant world, look, the reason my dad didn't let us do pageants, he has an older daughter and she had done them for a bit. My older sister did. It was, John Benet was trafficked. It went wrong. The night went wrong and they tried to cover it up. That's exactly what the fuck happened. And the whole police botching it, that was an inside out. You can't tell me that wasn't intentional. So yeah, her being in the files, abso-fucking-lutely tracks. Y'all, this stuff is right in front of our faces. Like, these types of people are so much more prevalent than the everyday person wants to admit. But the everyday person runs across these other people every day. They are the everyday people. It's disgusting.
What do you think would have happened if Lincoln had lived? It's a reasonable question because it was not inevitable he'd be assassinated. Right. He could have had more protection that night. So there are many ways in which he might not have died. But I think there were a few things that would have been better. First of all, Lincoln would not have pardoned all of these Confederate leaders and allowed them to come back into power. Lincoln also would have been a better politician at holding his Republican coalition together. And I think Lincoln was more committed to empowering former slaves and others. So we still would have had a lot of conflicts, but I think what would have been a degree of difficulty was doubled or tripled because Lincoln was removed and the opposite came into power with Andrew Johnson. What Lincoln has to be praised for is in the midst of a war, when at that point he was not doing well, the war was not going well, he ran for re-election. He didn't try to postpone the election. He didn't try to do anything. Yeah. And so he needed all the help he could get when running. How gangster is that to, during a war, still run the election? Lincoln believed in democratic values. He also believed he would win, but he knew it was not guaranteed. And it's interesting for people who don't know this, the reason we have mail-in balloting in the U.S. is because of that. Almost 1 million Union voters are away from their homes. And so how do they vote? As soldiers, as nurses? They vote by mail. The post office delivers their ballots. That's why we have mail-in balloting.
Moscow is seeing not just a record snowstorm, but a record-shattering one. The city is essentially frozen. I'm standing in a drift up to my chest, and this is the middle of Red Square.
Miserable. Couldn't imagine.
I mean, here's another thing I'll say. Keep your kids off YouTube. I've had friends who their son was on the bus to school and some kid had an iPad and they were watching cartoons and it just rolls to the next on YouTube. You know, I'll like go from one video straight into the next. And it was animated porn. It was cartoon characters doing sexually explicit things. And this was on, they were watching something innocent. And then it rolled to this video. And that kid has had so many issues.
People try to act like these kids are angels. You know what I mean? But you were a kid. If you had I don't know how old, but man, I'm not trying to poke fun and say because she's going to say he had issues or not, but young boys with access to that, or at least the one that had the iPad, magically that came on next. I have never had that happen to me. I'm just playing devil's advocate, y'all. I'm just giving you my opinion on these things. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong. But I watch YouTube 24/7 and that's never popped up. What pops up next is the algorithm that I watch, right? The type of things I watch, that's what pops up next. So if they're watching cartoons and then that animated stuff popped up next, something tells me that kid that brought that iPad onto that bus, he was already watching it.
Choose from that. Fortunately, he eventually told his parents and they got him some help, and that's not your fault, but this is why we don't want you on YouTube. There are even some issues with YouTube Kids.
Is there? What are those issues?
Yeah. So I got in touch with the team at Mr. Beast. We met at this thing, and I told them some exact examples, and they were like, "We don't need to be on YouTube Kids. We're YouTube, right? But like YouTube Kids, we can call up there and say we're out of here if you're like promoting these materials on YouTube Kids." So like the chief technology officer at the time for YouTube Kids like made a couple phone calls and got this stuff taken down. But same stuff on YouTube Kids.
Wow.
And these channels had been reported multiple times, like not just a couple of times.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And until they got that call from someone that works for Mr. Beast, they didn't do anything about it. So our kids, if they want to watch YouTube, it's with a parent in the room.
I don't know, y'all. I'm in the YouTube game, right? I'm in the YouTube game, and like I'm even nervous posting that clip, right? I'm nervous posting that clip because she said the K word that ends with the D, right? The KID word a lot. YouTube is very, very. I mean, they'll let the video come out, but it'll be blocked, right? It'll be like ad blocked, so there'll be no revenue from it, right? And if you get a certain amount of those ad blocks revenue, then you start getting strikes. So I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But I do see, like, say I can post a clip from a Joe Rogan podcast and I'll get ad blocked on it, but that same exact clip is on YouTube. So I don't know, like, I don't know if you guys remember on my third channel, I used to post like clips on there, right? So I think when you're monetized and you're getting money from it, YouTube is more lenient because I used to break down these long videos and put them like in 10-minute long videos on my third channel just for like short clips of these videos. And those clips would get like a strike, not a copyright strike, like a strike, like 2 more and your channel's banned, right? But I would have that same exact video on my big channel, no problem. So maybe she's right, y'all. If you have the views and you're bringing YouTube in the money, I think they are very, very lenient compared to if you're just getting started posting these types of videos, you're going to run into some turbulence.
Weird that JD Vance has been a little absent during a lot of these moves. Like he's not standing there when the president is up there talking about bombing Venezuela. They came to him after and he made his own statements. What they're trying to do is separate JD Vance from Donald Trump so that when either Trump passes away, because he does have health issues, it's obvious. I mean, did you see the oil meeting with Donald Trump? I mean, started looking around, then went outside and looked I mean, dude, if grandpa destroyed part of the house without just said, "Oh, I'm going to take out the whole west wing of your house one day," and didn't tell anybody what he was going to do or have any plans for it, didn't get permits, nothing, just had some friends come over and tear down the thing, started bombing countries and doing all the weird stuff and just looking out windows and talking gibberish.
This is my thing. I thought he couldn't do what he just did without Congress, without other entities being involved and okaying it.
George Bush did it. Bill Clinton did it. Look, they have enormous.
So the president does have certain things he can do without other people being involved, and that goes to starting
Obviously.
a war and attacking another country.
Well, but you also have to look at what he's done. He's taken out anybody that will oppose him.
I was going to say the second somebody says, "No, we're not going to do that," he cuts them loose, you're fired, and you're a Democrat now, right? You're fake news. You don't agree with me. Any news station that gives them a tough question, right? We used to complain because Joe Biden, they softball him questions, right? Well, this guy, when they softball or when they give him hard questions, he just says fake news. You're fake. I'm not going to answer that. You're fake. You're not real, right? When these questions have some legitimate, backing to it, like, we don't know what's going on with this money? Why is groceries so high? Oh, you're fake news. Groceries are the lowest. Stock market's at all-time high, right?
All of those generals that said, no, I'm not going to blow up a Venezuelan boat. We don't know there's drugs on it. Okay, you're fired. Until he got people that said, yes, I will do it. Now, going into Venezuela, who knows if it was legal? Kidnapping the president of, I mean, now imagine if, say, I don't know, Iran showed up one day, kidnapped.
You said this earlier.
President Trump,
That's what I'm talking
just
about.
took him back. I mean, we would literally start a war over that. But Venezuela doesn't have the power to do that.
But does Venezuela have friends? Because I know China's
Yeah,
in
but look, this is
Venezuela.
but look
they're supposed to have control over 60% of the country.
Look, they just did a big old oil deal with. They took like $50 billion from China. But look at what's happening. China wants Taiwan. You look the other way, we'll give you that oil. Russia says we want Ukraine. So right now they're just 6 months ago they all had a meeting, and they said, "Look, let's divvy up the world." Do you know what I'm saying? Like, look, you can have Taiwan, but let us do this. You can have Ukraine, but let us do this. We'll all look the other way and bitch and scream in the press to make it look like, but we won't drop any nukes.
Business, y'all.
The truth right in front of our faces.
Hell I've ever seen out of Mark Zuckerberg.
Hopefully this doesn't get copyrighted. I'm sure it will.
So the song Shake It Off was about how I shed my skin every 1,000 years. And the song Bad Blood was about how I drink blood out of my Grammys.
A toast to blood. Save some blood for Paul Rudd.
Begins at the dawn of history. The birth of the very first society begat the need for the very first secret society. A fraction of early humans were born smarter than their fellow cavemen. And if they would not listen to reason, perhaps they would listen to a higher power. And thus, the Order of the Black Robes was born.
Operating from the shadows using secret knowledge, we and our descendants kept watch over all of human history.
Not to point out the obvious, fire, plague, acts. If you're watching over us, why didn't you stop these things?
Stop them. We unleashed them.
By the way, this video is scripted and for entertainment purposes only. Stay weird.
What's the matter?
This wasn't a wrong turn. It was an isolated population. In 1976, in a remote region of West Virginia, state authorities began reviewing a cluster of disappearances linked to a single forest road that did not appear on updated maps. The missing were travelers, campers, drivers who reported taking a shortcut through the Appalachian backroads. At first, the cases were treated as routine wilderness disappearances. The terrain was harsh, the weather unpredictable. However, medical reports from 2 recovered survivors raised concern. Both displayed signs of prolonged captivity, severe malnutrition, and injuries consistent with blunt force restraint. More troubling were their statements. They described people living deep in the forest, physically deformed, with impaired speech and abnormal gait. State investigators followed the road and located several unregistered dwellings constructed from scavenged materials. Inside, they found evidence of long-term habitation, intermarriage. A forensic review later concluded the population suffered from advanced genetic degradation caused by generations of consanguinity and total isolation. Locals acknowledged the road existed but denied knowing who lived beyond it. No arrests were made. The road was sealed off in 1978 under a land safety order, and the population was never relocated.
What's the CIA's most disturbing experiment?
To me, they had a experiment that they did in Canada, and I'm never so many times people are like, "Oh, well, you must know all about this MKUltra project and names and dates and locations." I care about the techniques and the methods and the protocols and stuff that were a result of MKUltra. I'm not like, let me go fact check and get everybody's name right and dates. I don't have any of that because it was never important to me. But they did this thing in Canada. They took people coming in for just normal appointments, like I have postpartum depression or I have anxiety, and they would against their will do this thing called psychic driving. Had nothing to do with being psychic. It just meant psychic of the mind. And they would give them massive, prolonged doses of LSD. And in some cases, tape their eyes open like Clockwork Orange and play these videos in front of their face all the time. And they thought it was going to like reprogram their brain somehow. But what happened was a lot of the people had to learn how to walk again. They couldn't control their bladder. They had to learn how to control their urine and stuff like that again. Some of them lost 30, 40 years of memories from their life. And these were people who checked into a clinic for like anxiety. And this was funded by MKUltra, and it was in Canada. And it's so well known and it's so open that even the Canadian government paid the people's families.
Now, to the left of me is a modern day mall, and to the right of me is a 100 million year old Cretaceous ocean seafloor. This is literally millions of years old of compacted ocean sand, and what you can find in here is pretty amazing. We got a Turritella gastropod right there. See, look at that little shell right there. Look how beautiful that negative is of that ammonite. Another echinoid right there. This is nuts. Snail extraction. Oh, come on, we're busted out. Yeah! Yeah! Ooh. That's a good one, dude. Alrighty, y'all. Some pretty neat finds. We're gonna go to another patient. I'll let you know what we find.
Sydney beaches are on lockdown after 3 people, including 2 children, were attacked by sharks in just 26 hours. The latest attack happened on Monday when a surfer in his 20s was bitten on the leg, and he's now fighting for his life. Earlier that day, an 11-year-old boy was also knocked from his surfboard in another encounter. The attacks followed an incident on Sunday where a 12-year-old boy was bitten while swimming, with friends helping him back to shore. Police say the beaches will remain closed until further notice. All 3 attacks are believed to have involved bull sharks, which are in their peak season in the Sydney area.
All right, family, there you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Big day today, y'all. Big day. My boy has turned 1 year old. He is 1, y'all. Today is his birthday. I woke up at 5 to get this video going, but you know, they woke up at 6. So while I was up here, I was like, I cut it short. I'm like, I'm gonna go downstairs, y'all. I'm gonna go down and be with them for a little while, and when he takes his nap, I'll come up here and finish. So that's what we did, y'all. Finish the video. Right now he's asleep, so we're gonna plan on taking to the zoo. It's a little chilly out, so we're gonna kind of play it by ear. Maybe go like at 1 o'clock, just for a couple hours. Take him out, let him check out some animals, because now he likes to, you know, now he notices things. When we took him to the San Diego Zoo and we went, you know, back in September, he was still little. He didn't know what was going on, but now he'll kind of, you know, probably freak out with the animals in the zoo. So we're gonna take him to the zoo. Maybe if he's up for it, get some food after, some chicken wings or something, or bring him home, y'all. But that's the plan today, y'all. Beautiful day. Mama Bear's parents and families coming over later to sing happy birthday to him. My family's coming out here on Friday. We're having his birthday party on Sunday. We rented a little hall, so we're gonna have a big get together over there on Sunday. I'll be sure to post some pictures for you guys. But yeah, y'all, that's the plan today. The theme is Paw Patrol, so I got my Paw Patrol shirt on today, y'all. So you know, it's a good day. The boy, Mama Bear made him some oatmeal pancakes or something. So you know, his first like real solid food he ate like that. So it's a good day, y'all. It's a good day. It's a beautiful day. It's nice and sunny out, a little chilly, but it's supposed to warm up later on this afternoon. So I'm gonna get this video edited and get it out to you guys. And you know, Segovia will be with his boy, y'all. Make sure you guys leave some birthday cakes and some celebrations down below, y'all, for the boy. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow on the next one, y'all. This is Segovia. I'm signing out of here. I'll see you then. Later.